Hello everyone! My parents came to visit me with their delicious food for Christmas and for a couple of weeks in January. It was an adventure, especially when you live alone with no rules or restrictions and suddenly your silence is broken by new or old rules. It's not easy, but it's a good opportunity to see each other and talk. So this episode will be a bit outside of Granada with a more personal feel and lots of views over the two towns of La Alpujarra. As soon as my parents came, I was so energized by the idea that I must show them every single spot in Granada. But I forgot they are not used to going up and down over and over again because that's what walking around the city is about. I knew it was going to be the crazy 3-week event they had been waiting for to experience, so I had a plan for each day. Anyway, it fell apart because of what I mentioned earlier, and they also wanted a few chilled evenings at home or just walking through the center. The most important viewpoints can be marked as viewed, like Mirador de San Nicolás or Mirador del Barranco del Abogado. If you still don't know these places, I highly recommend. Sunsets up there are speechless. Being in Granada and not going to Sierra Nevada in the winter is like going to London and not see the Big Ben. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but still, it is nice to see just because you visited Granada and you see that mountains, right? So we went. On the way, we stopped a few times because we were unbelievably in love with the views. The city was full of people, so we stayed to walk around, eat, talk, and then we went up the road to the highest viewpoint that is called Hoya de la Mora. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the road was filled with snow, so we couldn't go up. All the people had to walk around 30 minutes up or stay and watch the sunsets from their cars. I found a nice spot, took pictures and enjoyed the view before it got cold. When I was up there, I was thinking, what if I could live the life I really want to live? How do I want to live? It seems so obvious, but so hard to decide when there are so many options and interests. Also, seeing the snow while waking up with the sun on the horizon and listening to the birds sing while holding a cup of coffee sounds amazing, right? Anyway, how much I would do to work remotely in my space creatively and still have the trust of the company you work for. That would be a stunning accomplishment, which I expected to have before deciding to live in Granada. But that is for another chapter. 2023. The new year has come. I prepared a great adventure trip for my parents. I booked 3 nights at Alpujarra. On the long way, we stopped for a while in the village of Torvizcón, where there are these cute little houses symbolizing the designs of typical Alpujarra houses. Adorable. In the beginning, I thought they were fireplaces or something like that. Seriously. Silly me.
Ale fajne. Wejdź do środka.
The first night was in Treveléz, the highest village in Andalusia, which is also famous for its rich jamón products. Of course we tried, and I love jamón as red wine. Then we were walking around, and when my parents stopped to admire the view with the cup of coffee, they told me they didn't want to run around me anymore. They were tired, obviously. So I went up alone to Mirador era el Fuerte, and trust me, when I am high on adventure, no one can stop me. I just need to see everything, and mostly in the golden hour, which is sunset. I want to be in every place at the same moment, but I know it's impossible. In the evening, my parents and I sipped wine and talked next to the fireplace. Seriously, I've been in the same hostel 2 times and it never failed. The next morning, before going to Capileira, I realized that last evening I left a tripod quick coupler at the Mirador. I had to go back up and look for it.
Zgubiłam dzyndzel do statywu i teraz przyszłam go szukać. Jeżeli go nie znajdę, to mam przesrane. Znalazłam. Tutaj leży.
The next stop, Soportújar, Halloween's paradise. I remember this village with a lot of witchy vibes back in the pandemic times, but this time I was quite shocked about so many closed places and many tourists. According to legend, this village welcomed nighttime witches, meetings whilst witches watched hidden in the fog. Before entering the village, you can find a huge figure of Baba Yaga of Russian origins, which according to the legend, visited town and decided to stay right there. And she built her home somewhere between the streets of Soportújar. Of course, right there you will also find the narrowest street in Spain. Before going to Capileira, I managed to convince my parents for another sunset in Mirador de los Tajos del Ángel. Although honestly they were already fed up with me and still had to go many days with my energy. Once I was up there and I really wanted to see if I remembered this exactly the same way as almost 2 years ago when I visited this place. Anyway, just look at the sunset. In the morning, I decided to go to the highest mirador, Cuesta del Lugar. My parents weren't that excited about that thought. In the middle of the way, I failed because without breakfast or water, I lost my breath. I stayed up there for about 45 minutes and came back for that missing breakfast with my parents. To be honest, I thought we will see snow in January or at least clouds, but we haven't experienced that, and I badly wanted to wake up in the town in the clouds. Later on, I was so thrilled to show them Pampaneira because it is the most beautiful village of them all. I don't know why, but it has this vibe and so many amazing narrow streets going up and down. But after a couple of hours walking and sea-sighting, my parents were already very tired. But still, I wanted to show them the highest point. I always go for the sunset. Well, this time, they also were not so convinced, and they went to chill in a nice place drinking coffee and enjoying vitamin D. I don't know if it's a popular spot, but I normally climb on a fence, and from there you can see the whole city. So, that's Pampaneira.
szkoda, że kolejną rzecz zgubiłam, ale już na innej górze, jak widać. Znalazłam, właśnie nagrywam. Więc ta rzecz leży dosłownie tutaj. Więc czas powiedzieć papa Capileirze. I trzeba wracać już do Granady.
One of these days, my sister came to visit us. It was such a nice surprise. We didn't document most of our going out, but it didn't matter. We wanted to be in the moment and talk. Mostly talk, eat and drink. She lives in the UK, and there are not so many days we can actually meet and go out together as a family. To be honest, if she was around, I would probably be much happier living with her. So that was the half of my January, and as soon as my family departed, I needed to come back to reality and face the list of my needs and goals for this year. I don't know if you're doing that, but I believe it helps me to be on track and actually actively take an action. Last year, I was extremely lost, and I realized that without any goal, it's harder to get to the place you really want to be. It's like walking towards the unknown, which sounds amazing, but only if you're actually walking or moving forward and not standing waiting for a miracle to happen.